Hey everyone, it's Sketch and welcome back to a new video. Today I am doing a face video, as you can see, and I am just going to be doing a spirituality 101 video. I've gotten requested over on the Discord and on here just to kind of explain a little bit on moon phases, retrogrades, kind of like, kind of the basic info. But I do want to make this kind of a series based on what you guys want to learn about. So let me know if there's anything that I didn't cover in this video that you would like to learn more about, and I could definitely do a video about those certain things. But today we're just going to go into sort of a kind of basic spirituality knowledge video on how to get started, how to learn about all these different things, what I have been learning over the last 6 years, basically. And yeah, my first tip to kind of get into this so then you can learn better and remember things is to find a journal that speaks to you, or a notebook, and obviously a pen so you can write out notes when certain things happen, so then you can have this as a reference. I like to keep this spiritual journal just to kind of look back on for certain topics, and to have my birth chart in there. So let's get started with that. So your birth chart is more of about you, about where you are, when you were born, what astrologically was happening is directly linked to how you are as a person. And it's so crazy. I love learning about birth charts. You could simply just look up birth chart calculator on Google. That will be really helpful. But the three that everyone commonly knows online, if you are online and you see people that have sun, moon, rising signs, that's where it's coming from, birth chart calculator. So your sun sign is typically the zodiac sign that you were born in, and also that's considered your identity, how people view you in the world. For example, I am a Leo, so I am presented as very confident, very, I like to wear my hair down and stuff, very just loyal to friends, stuff like that. Your moon sign is about how you are on the inside, on how you feel with your emotions, and just your emotional side of things, more of your inner self in a sense. So for example, mine is in Scorpio, so I am a very emotional person, but I'm also really good at certain emotional things with other people, but I can get really emotional myself. And then your rising is your first impression of people, not necessarily with your friends and stuff, but when people see you, this is their first impression of you. So mine is in Virgo, and everyone just probably thinks that I'm a neat freak and, kind of this organized person and so on top of things, which I am for the most part, but I'm definitely not perfect, So yeah, so that's how you can kind of know, so sun is identity, moon is for your emotions, and your rising sign is more of your first impression that you give off to people. So definitely, I will link a website in the description on how you can calculate your birth chart. It'll also go into most likely your other planets, so what your Mercury is in, your Venus, your Mars, and these all talk about different things. So if you want me to do a whole video about birth chart stuff, let me know in the comments. And yeah, and basically just take notes on everything in your birth chart. So again, I will leave a link down below for you to figure out your birth chart, and feel free to make a little as your first page in your journal to write out what each of your planets are in, and then most likely it goes into more details about yourself. So I was able to put that in there, intense emotions, hard to open up or let people in. I come across as organized, a little notes and such. So, and then another thing that you want to keep in your Journal 2 is kind of the witch calendar. So, like when certain seasons start, like for example, in about a week here, we're going to be having Virgo season starting. So, just having like a reference page of all of that and when each of the moon phases occur, which, speaking of moon phases, that's what we're going to go into next. So, a big thing with moon phases is that each one represents a different sign a lot of the time, which makes it more precise on what you should be focusing on during that moon phase. But also, you can just do like general rituals. You do not have to follow like the zodiac calendar really to do these rituals. You can even just start as basic as, today, as I put up this video, it is actually a first quarter moon. We just had our new moon last week, and now we're in the first quarter moon. So typically every week, there is a different major moon sign happening, and the crescents and gibbuses are kind of in between. I don't necessarily do rituals for those particular things. I just kind of take those as like, okay, I still have time to work on the previous like major moon cycle. So, for example, you could put in your journal just like a simple kind of like moon chart showing the different things. So the first one, the new moon, that is all black because typically new moons you cannot see because the sun is blocking it. But when it's a full moon, typically it's behind it, so it glows a lot. So that's kind of the difference between the two. So new moon is all about new beginnings, setting intentions, and reflecting on the past month, basically, and figuring out what goals you want to set for the next month. So the new moon is kind of like your kind of pivotal point to planning, but sometimes it doesn't align with the beginning of the month. Like, for example, last week was a new moon and it was only the second week of August. So it's almost like a time, if it's not in the beginning of the month, to kind of like reflect, kind of review where you're at, kind of a thing, and to set new intentions for yourself. And then waxing crescent is all about like action and planning. So you don't have to do too much of that. Just kind of keep that in mind to really kind of focus on what you did plan out for the new moon. That way, leading up to the following week, you're actually working on those things. So now, first quarter moon. Today is the heightened part of the first quarter moon. So today's ritual is more of like, journaling and obstacle clearing. So maybe journaling on what is holding you back from those intentions or goals that you set at the new moon and how you can overcome those. Like, what's your backup plan? How can you, some examples of this is, say you are trying to lose weight. So your intention for the next month is to eat more vegetables. Okay, well, first quarter moon comes around and you're like, I haven't done a lot. I mean, I've been exercising and stuff, but then you look and you have a lot of junk food in your cabinet. So maybe the obstacle is to either get rid of that junk food, give it to friends, give it to family, whatever, and to overcome that obstacle to get rid of that stuff to help you and fill your cabinet more with vegetables. That's just like an example. But just seeing how you can, what obstacles have come up over the last week that are holding you back from those goals being accomplished. And then there's the full moon, which that is next week. Super excited for that. And don't worry, I'll do a video on the full moon, more specifically with the zodiac sign that corresponds with it so we can get more nitty-gritty details. But for the most part, full moons are to celebrate and release. So definitely life happens, things happen, and sometimes you need to release some things out of your life that no longer serve you. So this is a good time to kind of write those things down. For example, doing a releasing ritual like with fire, writing down everything that you want to let go of, negative thoughts, for instance, junk food, as we mentioned before, writing all those things down and then throwing it into a fire. If you don't have access to a fire, or if you're like me and you're in an apartment building and you don't want to like set off your smoke detector, another way that I have done this is just ripping up the piece of paper into the trash. That is also a really good ritual to do. A lot of people also do moon water, which means that they take, you know, like a typical glass of water or a jar of water, bowl of water, whatever, and they put it out the night of the full moon out on their outside in their backyard or on their patio, their balcony, whatever, and let it charge overnight. And then you drink that water to almost kind of, you know, get that the energy of that into your body the next morning. But you can also charge your crystals during full moons. The lightness of it being charged, it helps release any negative energies that may have entered your space or your home, stuff like that. And also just gratitude. So writing out things that you're grateful for that happened, like the positives. So you're almost like doing like a release thing of the negatives and being grateful for what you do have, and looking at the positives. And then last quarter moons, which are right after the full moon, just before the new moon, that is when you really need to forgive yourself. This is a perfect time to kind of forgive yourself for those things that, you know, you had to let go of, or things that you weren't doing so hot on. This is also a time to take care of yourself, declutter your space if need be, releasing those things that just are holding you back, you know, decluttering and that you've been procrastinating on, and cleansing. So for example, cleaning your home, cleansing yourself with a full body shower, like a what do they call those? Like a I can't say, an everything shower, for example. Those kind of things. It's a good time to finally cleanse yourself, to be like, I did that, you know? And then it goes back to the beginning with the new moon, you know, new beginnings, setting things, you know, reflecting, all of that. So that's kind of like a basic of the moon rituals and like the moon phases and stuff. But yeah, I have, just to give you some ideas of what I put in here, and maybe these are ideas of things that you want me to do videos on in the future. So I have in here, like I said, I start off with my birth chart, and then I go into the 2026 witch calendar, which mine seems a little bit off because from the research I've done, it doesn't seem super accurate, so that I don't really rely on whatever one I had before, because I made this at the beginning of the year. And then I have crystal info and ritual, so if you want me to go into like a crystal video, I could definitely do that. Then I have the moon phase info and rituals. I have some shadow work journal prompts, just like a list that I go through. So if you want me to do like a shadow work kind of video, that's another idea. I have like a list of just spells and rituals to try. For example, I want to try to learn how to create sigils. I want to work with a deity or a goddess, creating a protection candle, doing a cord cutting, stuff like that. So maybe I could do like a video of like me trying a spell or ritual with you guys. I don't know, that would be kind of fun. And then I go into tarot and oracle cards, so like types of readings to do, and the wish list of different decks that I would like. I kind of need to update this into my my Christmas wish list, excuse me, because now my birthday is already passed. So let me know if that's something of interest, if you want me to do like a basic tarot spread or something. I started to learn a little bit about sigils on this page, so maybe we could do a video on that. I also have stoner witch info and rituals. So these are just some things to do, like, oh, I can cross off, I did read Weed Witch, and I didn't really like it. But I have some other books on there that I can check out. These are just some things that you can do if you're also a stoner like myself, some things to do to incorporate your witch practice or your spirituality into it. I could do a video on that. Divine feminine tips and info. So for example, you know, what to do to connect to your divine feminine. That's a whole other different topic. So again, I can go into that if you'd like me to in another video. Aromatherapy tips and recipes. So these are just some things like oils and sprays stuff that can help with making you feel a certain way, or for stress relief or for tension. And then I have some recipes in here, which I still need to try actually. I just haven't been able to try any of this because of the whole moving thing. But now that I'm like settled, I'm like, yay, I can finally try all this. But yeah, so I can go into aromatherapy as well. That's another topic. Energy and home cleansing. If you want me to do a whole video about cleansing and how to do it, like how to cleanse your home or yourself and stuff like that, let me know and I could do that as well. I have astrology and astronomy info. So let me know if you want me to do like an astrology and astronomy type video as well. I have a lot of information on that. I could do it in 2 different parts. So like I could do one that's more of like the houses, like what those all mean. That's a whole other thing, what the planets each represent, stuff like that. Grounding rituals and tips. So I can go into like, you know, how you can ground yourself, some different grounding things. I could talk about color magic. That could be a video. Witchy holidays, I can go into that. I want to start getting into witchy holidays, but I haven't, to be honest. So I think that I should start getting into that. So if you want me to start doing that, I can for Mabon, which is on the autumn equinox. So I could definitely do a video with that. We could also talk about numerology. That's another whole different topic on how numerology works. Definitely can go into that. I'm sorry if you hear the mowing of the lawn. I think they're mowing my lawn at the apartment. We can talk about deities and goddesses, which ones to work with and such. This one I'm still learning about. We could talk about how to set up your altar and such. I feel like I've done a video on that already. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. I actually have it in my spirituality playlist. We could talk about 4 element magic. So how you can use magic with the 4 elements: water, earth, fire, air. So let me know if that's something of interest. There's the 12 laws of the universe. I think I got this from a book. I could certainly, you know, go into it if you guys want me to talk about the laws. And then the portals of the body, aka the chakras. We can definitely do a whole video about chakras. I even like color coded mine. So that's another idea that you could do. But yeah. And then seasonal spiritual rituals. I want to start this in the fall for sure for Mabon and Samhain, aka Halloween. I definitely want to start doing that. So let me know if you guys would like me to do a video on it. Otherwise, I'm going to be doing it on my own. Another one is like a witch's weekly planner. So these are like some things to journal about based on the planets that correspond with each of the days of the week. For example, Sunday represents the sun, etc. I could teach you guys some powerful manifestation techniques that I've learned. That's also something. More into numerology here. High vibrational activities. So I could do a whole video about, you know, how you can be high vibrational rather than low, aka get out of a depressive funk in spirituality terms. I also have glamour magic. I have water types. So like when you're working with, you know, the moon, if you put water under the moon cycle, as we were talking about before, under the sun or in the rain or during a storm, they all can do different things for you. I go into more depth on crystals apparently here. Wow, I did a lot of notes on that. About the houses again, tarot card meanings. Again, I could do like a whole video on, you know, the major arcana, and then another video for the minor, which is like wands, cups, pentacles, swords. I even have a spirituality plan to cleanse your third eye specifically, because I know a lot of us that's been seen on social media, because social media can really block your third eye from doing certain things. So if you guys want me to do like a vlog of me going through like a 5-day spirituality kind of cleanse in a sense for the third eye, let me know. Also, I could do a video on how to set intentions if that's something that you are struggling with. I also have sync with the cycles. So if you're female like myself and have your cycles, like your menstrual cycle, for example, I could teach you how to kind of sync with those. So then you can kind of do certain things with those on top of it. And yeah, that's kind of all I really have in my journal so far. And it's only like halfway through, and I can learn so much more things, but those are the kind of the things that I have been learning about. So let me know if any of those topics that I mentioned are of interest. And I forgot to talk about retrogrades, so I'll quickly go into that now. But retrogrades are essentially when the planet is directly, I'm gonna mess this up, I think it's directly aligned with Earth for a certain amount of time. It could be the sun. I apologize if I'm misinforming you all. But those are like when, for example, when people online are like, Mercury's in retrograde, for example, that just means that, you know, Mercury is in line with us and it could cause some issues, for example, communication issues and stuff. Maybe I should do a whole separate video and do some more research on it, actually, because I do know like the basics of it, but I feel like an in-depth video would be a lot more helpful. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I know it was a whole lot of information and I apologize, but I figured it would be a good kind of starting point for you to learn about the moon phases at least, because we are in the first quarter moon phase right now. And since it is in Gemini, I am wearing all blue today because Gemini's color is blue. So if you can, wear some blue today to celebrate. But yeah, I hope that you guys all enjoyed this. Let me know if any of the things I talked about in this video would be of interest to dive deep right into. Figured this would be a good video to segue into those different topics. But yeah, I hope that you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, guys.